All right, yeah, we can get the ball rolling. Here at Multifamily Monday, Keller Williams commercial with the Multifamily Investment Advisors. As everyone knows, Keller Williams is the number one real estate firm in the U.S. with $407 billion in closed transactions in 2020. Can't wait to get that number tossed out here as soon as the new year hits for 2021. Um, Want to pass the ball over to Kelly Rich before we get the second half of our car webinar started that we aired last week. Kelly, do we have any listings that we want to indicate for our investors here this Monday?
We absolutely do. Thanks for passing the ball over to me, Vince. So let's get going. First, I want to talk about a 55 unit portfolio that we have near the upcoming Auburn Park Station. This is a mixed use portfolio consisting of residential and office/retail tenants. It does total 55 units within 3 contiguous buildings. Retail office tenants are both internet and COVID-proof tenants. It's a fully occupied under long-term ownership. Current owner does have pride in ownership. As such, the units are well maintained. This asset presents a light value add opportunity. We're offering that at $3,150,000. We also have an opportunity in the Chicago Lawn and Gage Park neighborhoods. It's 38 unit, multifamily and mixed use portfolio, just minutes from Chicago's Midway Airport. This presents an opportunity to achieve returns from day one, in addition to a value add opportunity. We're offering this at an 8.22 cap rate and a 14.28% cash on cash return. This asset is being offered at $2,750,000. And last but not least, we have 29 units available in Chatham. It's a mixed use asset consisting of 22 apartments and 7 retail spaces that have been well maintained over the years. The majority of the tenant pool are long-term tenants. This offering gives the investor the opportunity to acquire a value add opportunity in the Chatham neighborhood that is generating over $145,000 income per year. This is being offered as an 8.48 cap rate at $1,800,000. So definitely reach out to members of the team if you have any interest in any of those assets. We do have other assets that we can talk to you about. Give us a call so we can go over your acquisition criteria and present you with some opportunities that might fit your strategy. I will be posting the contact information in the chat. You can reach us at area code 312-863-8990. We are on the web at chicagomultifamilyinvestments.com, and then email that's at investment@kwcommercial.com. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, Kelly. We're going to get this webinar started. As you guys know, if it is Monday, every Monday at noon, you can find the Multifamily Investment Advisors here for Multifamily Market Update. We're going to get this webinar started. One moment, let me make sure we have sound.
Training. Do they need to listen to everything Nikki said and this on training, or do we have other options for folks?
I love that question. So hopefully you absorbed all of Nikki's knowledge and information because she is the best at what she does. But we're working, the Commercial Brokers Association does have a great like FAQ page with resources and all sorts of things that they've got going on. They've also got an incredible YouTube channel that goes through how to do certain aspects and certain parts of manipulating documents, setting up transactions, all that good stuff. And the YouTube videos are great and very easy to follow. Additionally, Jacob and I are currently building out our own commercial forum like FAQ legal library page that will come a little bit later down the line. We don't have training sessions like this currently scheduled, but I'll make sure to put in some links to those resources in the chat as well.
And we are working to be prepared next year to offer some other kind of one-off training opportunities. And that's something we're going to partner with our Realtors Real Estate School on as well to see if we can get a few little micro lessons up for people and allow them to sort of access the technology and how to use it in that manner. We can definitely post the YouTube channel into the chat. I see there was a question from Adela on that point. I'd love to go ahead and bring Mo Hall, Tony Hardy, and Amy Hall on screen. If you guys are out there and ready in TV land, I'm curious to hear from your all's perspectives, how will you use this product? It seems like a cool product, but it's also like really sprawling and complicated. And, what will you guys actually do? Maybe, I think we kind of worked on this a lot under your stewardship, Tony, as the previous chair, and you've been on that committee that's been working on this product now for like 3.5 years. So I'd love to know from your perspective, how do you think our members can use Legal Library? What are you excited about?
A couple of things. So one of the things is it gives us a centralized place where we can work on documents and kind of share work. And also I like the fact that we have the car team and the car legal team, kind of behind the scenes working through to make sure that we're in compliance and things like that, because there is a lot of changes going on with everything, and that we can edit and kind of personalize the documents and make them our own. I can put my logo on there for my team and or our company and really own the product. And there's a lot of forms in there already to get started. And I know you guys have maybe 20 or so other ones kind of in the works that'll be released over the next, over the next months and even years. But I know you mentioned that there's you guys are working on a purchase and sale agreement, but on the list, it looked like there was already a purchase agreement, an investment purchase agreement. So that's just an additional addition is what you're working on.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Tony. And it's worth noting that there are different sort of versions of some standard types of forms. You'll notice, for example, a bevy of options for LOIs that kind of focus on asset class. We do try to customize to some extent. So like, for example, if you, like our current chair of commercial forum, Jimena Saavedra, focus on one asset class, Jimena specializes in industrial, then Jimena can focus in on what we offer there that's catered in that direction toward industrial and kind of dispense with the other ones as needed. If you're a generalist or you work off of a lot of different asset classes, you can use those larger forms that aren't as specific, and you can cater them to whatever you like. If we try to make it so that the users have a lot of options to choose from, it's like a buffet kind of deal. You can stick with the ham or you can go for the nacho fountain, whatever you like. Mo Hall, one of the things we were thinking about with this product is that it might be really helpful to boutique brokerages. And as a former 30 under 30 and an owner of a small shop, I'm curious to know from your perspective, how will you use Legal Library? What's the value for you?
There's tremendous value in using Legal Library. As you kind of mentioned, being a boutique firm, sometimes we're limited in resources that national firms may have, or it might be very costly to access those same resources. So to have something like Legal Library at my fingertips, where we have all these forms where if I took on that responsibility on my own, I would have to pay an attorney an hourly fee, which could be costly, considering, as you mentioned, there's different types of asset classes. And so it would be kind of hard to get one generalized form for every single deal, especially if you're dealing with industrial versus multifamily versus retail. There's so many different things. And so Legal Library is a phenomenal resource that my firm will be using just from a cost perspective, and that you can customize it, and it can become the industry norm that when people start seeing these documents passed around, we kind of set the standard. So it'll be very beneficial being a boutique owner, especially those if you already have certain resources such as CoStar and other platforms as such that's already costly. And to add your forms as another expense, can definitely be detrimental to your business just from an expense standpoint. So to have something cost effective like Legal Library, I think you can't beat it. So I encourage everyone to sign up, especially those on the boutique end. I see my fellow colleague and mentor, Tyler McGee, on the line. I know we've discussed certain resources and trying to build a commercial arm of our brokerages. So to have something like this is phenomenal.
Hey, Lutalo was the first person to sign up for Legal Life. He is user number 1. So he's an MVP in our books. This is the man who came out and said, yes, I want it. Yes, I'm going to use it. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk about why he decided to do so if you ask him. And I also saw a couple of questions coming in a little bit about how the forms will work now, because we have traditionally offered a small set of commercial forms and contracts through our websites. They were kind of a middling quality, some of them more useful than others. With the launch of Legal Library, we have pulled those off of the site. So that is true. You will no longer be able to access any commercial form or contract through the website. You can look in the chat. Brady provided some really nice, fancy $10 words to explain that, which you all will probably understand, but I do not because I'm only staff. If you want the commercial forms and contracts, you got to come in through the Legal Library, and there are a ton of them in there. We just saw on the screen how many there are. For residential folks, you can still go in and get those residential forms and contracts on the website, just like always, same as it ever was. Amy Hall, I'm curious from your perspective, your COO, you're minding the P's and the Q's for Caton Commercial, keeping everybody on task. From your perspective, what's the value add of a legal library for someone in your role or for someone at a brokerage like Caton? Why Legal Library?
Sure, absolutely. So we've gone through the process of developing our own personalized forms. And to Moses's point, it is an incredibly costly endeavor to be able to customize forms to your own firm and design specifically around maybe some of the things that you really hone in on. And for us, it's retail and industrial. But I think that this is just another quiver in the arrow, so to speak, in regard to having forms that are already vetted. They are forms that, let's say, for whatever reason, a practitioner feels more comfortable with that, or they feel that maybe it's a little more user-friendly for maybe a less sophisticated client or a more sophisticated client. You now have an option, and it is something that I think, to Moses's point as well, it's incredibly beneficial. And Tony mentioned the white label piece of being able to create your own document without the upfront cost of having to have had an attorney create the template for you, because this is a template. What I would encourage people to keep in mind is that while it can reduce your legal fees, it does not replace an attorney. So I just want to, I'm putting my little compliance hat on, remind everyone, don't play attorney. If you have significant material changes to the verbiage within the documents, it still needs to, your clients still need to be reviewed by an attorney. So
that's a great point, Amy. It's definitely not you don't now have your legal library, Esquire, right? Like you still have to bring somebody in to make sure it makes sense, right? And that you're not going to end up in County Orange. So we want to make sure that we follow those rules at the end of the day, but you can get to that conversation maybe perhaps more expeditiously and at a lower cost, right? Where you can do a lot of that grunt work yourself, and then the attorney can do that final pass.
Yeah, I'm excited to have some forms that may be able to be supplementing our own collection of documents at Caton and just really have a robust offering out there. So it's great.
Tony, I saw you come on mute, but I'm curious to know. I mean, you're with KW. That's a big old company. You all surely have a lot of stuff internally. I mean, is this something that's even valuable to someone who's at a larger shop? Would this still be of use to you?
I think so. Yes, I'm looking forward to digging in and getting the team involved with it. Everybody on our team doesn't write contracts, so we kind of consolidate those. But the key members will have access to it, and it gives us another tool. I think the attorney can come in and collaborate with the edits and see the edits that we're making or suggesting. I like that a third party can come in. And also, it could be forward facing where the seller can see that we're working, right? Because sellers always think if they don't see us showing up to show the building or this and that there's nothing happening. This is could be another tool where we can invite the seller to be in, to kind of see what's happening behind the scenes. One of the things you did ask me about is what gets me excited about it. It's a low barrier of entry, right? It's $200 for the whole year. It's like, less than $20 a month. So I'm really excited about that, and really excited about getting started with the legal library.
I mean, I think that's a good point. It's $200 to get an attorney to open an email. So, it's not bad. It ain't bad. Nikki, I'm curious to know, from your perspective, one of the things that I always think about is when you're learning something and then you sort of master it, you always think, God, I wish I'd known that back then. You all have been working with this product for a while. From the SEBA perspective, what are some of the things that your members probably wish they would have known at the start, or what are some common things they may sort of stumble out of the gates on?
Yeah, so I think for a lot of our users, we went into launching Legal Library Pro as an organization that already offered a customization tool for Legal Library. We were just doing it through Microsoft Word, and it was just a little archaic. So for our members, a lot of it was just adjusting to and embracing the online platform of it. So embracing that collaboration and embracing, adding users and knowing that is being tracked. Embracing things like making those edits and changes, knowing that you can still download those forms and you should be referring back to your lawyer and to, your designated broker. But I think once our teams really started working together on them, like our admins to brokers and things like that, because we do have some offices where only the admins make the forms for their brokers. There's a lot of different setups in different offices. And once that started kind of getting in the flow with it, all of our users, even ones who first saw the edit screens and felt a little overwhelmed at first because there is a lot of capability, I gotta say at least 90% of them would come back like a couple weeks later and they're like, you know what, now that I've been in there doing forms, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. And they're so grateful for having it. So that was probably one of our biggest things when we first launched.
I think that's a really salient point, honestly. I mean, speaking as someone who took 20 minutes to teach my dad how to change his camera perspective from selfie to room, there is a learning curve with technology sometimes, and it can cow you a little bit as an individual, thinking, God, I have to learn this whole new thing, right? But I have also played around in the system, and this is, I think, the third time now I've seen you give a demo, so I've got a little bit of, I'm just enough to be dangerous, as they say. But in playing around with it, I think, it is pretty logical. Once you see how the system works, it's fairly straightforward, and a lot of it is just data entry stuff. You're kind of learning where to plug things in and where to go to get to that information. Brady, we have had several questions on pricing. I'm wondering if we could maybe just cut to the chase, and perhaps you could share the screen and we could show folks how it'll work if they want to sign up.
I absolutely can. So I'm gonna bring us all to chicagorealtor.com, my favorite website in the entire world. So once you're on chicagorealtor.com, the way you're gonna find commercial is underneath groups and networks here at the top. We're the second one here, commercial forum. We're gonna give that a click. And this brings us to our not brand new, same link, brand new look to our website. So when you go to commercial forum, the first thing you're gonna wanna go to is this related links section and click join commercial forum. This page is gonna go over, what your commercial forum membership gives you, and has these different drop downs here to sign up. So if you're currently a car member, you'll click this first drop down. If you are not a car member, but are curious about what we're doing here at Commercial Forum, then you'll click the second one here. In terms of pricing, it is $200 for an existing car member to add legal library onto their benefits. In doing so, we'll also mark Commercial Forum as an interest on your account. So that gets you access, to the newsletter and other events coming up. So we're going to make sure to loop you into everything while we add legal library to your account. And then there, just as a note, there are 2 separate applications. So I'll click on this one here for car members. And it's just going to sort of go over what legal library does, how it works, and you have all these different fields of entry. So you'll just sort of, populate all this information. Once it's at least all the required fields, at minimum the required fields, hopefully more. You'll fill all that out. Your commercial specialty. I would say whatever area of commercial you're most involved in, select that here. But if you have more, feel free to drop that in the other section as well. That's something Jacob and I would love to know. And then it's going to scroll down to pricing. You would put in your name and your card information here. Click the I agree for our terms and conditions. The CAPTCHA, I'm not a robot. And then click submit. Upon clicking submit, you will get a copy of all your responses to whatever email you put in the form. Not necessarily the email you have on file with CAR, whatever email you drop into this form is where you'll get the copy of the receipt. And Jacob and I will get a copy as well. From there, we just sort of go check your account with us, make sure it's all active and good to go. And as long as your CAR account is active, then we set you up in legal library. It can take up to 3 business days to get your login information. Not to brag though, but Jacob and I are pretty fast. So it's usually been under 2 business days to get that information. And I won't bother showing the non-member sign up at this time. It's the exact same. Some of the questions are different because we need to gather a little bit more information if you're signing up with us for the first time. But I do just want to mention that, okay, thanks, CAPTCHA. I do just want to mention that if you're joining Commercial Forum and Legal Library, that gets you a whole host of other benefits. So, networking opportunities, member pricing for classes and events. You get sort of the full gambit of what we're offering as commercial. So that's going to be a $400 total. So if you're not already with us, the $400 covers your membership of Commercial Forum and the legal library subscription, and both are annual costs that renew on October 1st with regular billing. So whenever you join, it's $200 to sign up or $400 to sign up, and then that payment is renewed on October 1st of every year.
And you can opt out. We certainly hope that you won't, but if the legal library just isn't for you, then once your renewal period comes, you can choose to opt out, and that'll be that. I would be remiss if I didn't call upon our president, Antje Gerken, who I did notice in her speech and also in the comments here indicated some excitement about legal library. And I'm kind of curious, you're leading us now into the future. How is legal library good for our members? What are you excited about?
Well, the members on the call here today said it all, essentially. It is a game-changing tool. We are promoting it as a game-changing tool. I referenced it in my inaugural speech as a game-changing tool. And the reason I did is because it is a game-changing tool. So thank you very much, Nikki, for the presentation. It was very clear, very easy to follow. It looks very intuitive. Even Jacob's father should be able to utilize it. No shade to Jacob's father. Many of our realtors cross over between residential and commercial as well. And this is a great way to help support that. I am the vice chair of the Illinois Realtors Commercial and Property Management Committee this coming year, and our chair, Sandra Halliburton, is on the call as well. Hi, Sandra. I'm excited to bring this up to the state level as well to see how we can engage more realtors. And as a CCIM, which I attained because I'm trying to bring more of the realtor world into the commercial world. I'm just super excited about all of the prospects. It's great to be able to use our realtor resources and not have commercial be this sort of, like it's been called, this forgotten stepchild of the real estate world. And to bring in the commercial practitioners to the realtor world is exciting to me. And this is, I think, a great way to do that.
I think you're dead on with all of those comments. And I wouldn't only say that because you're the president. So, you know, I think that my dad probably will not figure it out. My mom and maybe the family dog probably can. But my dad is a lost cause at this point, I think. Do we have any other questions from the groups that are gathered here? Brady, did you see anything popping up in the chat? It looks like there's more questions about training. Certainly, we will be offering how-to information. As Brady mentioned, we'll have a frequently asked questions supplement. Right now, we're kind of cribbing off of SEBA's, but we will be putting our own out this year. There is a YouTube channel where you can definitely get a lot of little how-to things. Certainly, you can write to Brady or I and ask, you know, if you go to info@commercialforum.com on your email, with a specific question, we'll be happy to circle back and see what we can do to help. We want to make sure that you all are able to use this technology, especially if you are excited about it. We don't want that, you know, burn to happen where you log in, you can't figure it out, and you give up. That's not what we want to happen at all. Are there other questions that folks have, though? Or Brady, have you seen anything else roll through?
Jacob, I just want to mention it all. I've seen a few questions just come through to me and in the chat about other commercial professional development opportunities. So anything, maybe not legal library specific, but other things we've got going on that can really help, you know, folks get into commercial. As Anja mentioned, like our resi-commercial folks, if they want to start doing more commercial, what opportunities they have within Commercial Forum to do that.
Well, Brady, this is why you're such a valuable member of a team, because you just put the ball right on the tee and all I have to do is swing now. We have a lot of stuff we can offer through Commercial Forum for folks who are wanting to learn more about the commercial practice and get their feet wet, or perhaps they're already kind of doing it some, but they'd like to expand what they're up to. I would definitely suggest our Commercial Forum Power Lunches. We did dedicate this one to the legal library demo. Normally, they are much more in the weeds on commercial issues, and we've covered all kinds of different topics and had some pretty impressive speakers, nationally renowned economists. The deputy mayor came in to talk about commercial investment in the market. We look at asset classes and trends. Jimena's putting together a gangbuster industrial panel for later this year. We're looking at development and community revitalization. So that's a great way to kind of come in and learn about some of those issues that are keeping our members up at night and what the commercial folks are really focused on. We also offer a great education through the Realtors Real Estate School. If you have signed up to receive our newsletter, you'll be getting on November 9th, you'll get the next one. And one of the things we're focusing on there are our continuing education bundles. You can bundle your education around the commercial focus if you like, and that will allow you to keep your license active while also being in classes that are devoted to commercial topics. A couple of our committee members also teach for the Realtors Real Estate School. They're the real deal. Those are really good classes. So you can go in there and learn about topics and also, of course, network. We do qualify as realtors for discounts on CCIM education. And as Anja said, that's a great way to kind of bring the realtor world into the commercial world. Even if you just take their kind of commercial real estate 101 and their basic investment courses with no intention of earning a CCIM designation, that can help you elevate your game for sure. I would also suggest, you know, coffee with the GADs. A lot of folks feel like the realtors primarily lobby around residential topics, but quite frankly, if you look at the issues that come up at the city level, most of them are commercial topics that affect residential. And you can definitely find out what's happening with policy if you attend Coffee with the GADs. So that's a strong thing I would encourage you to do. And we do have a video library. So we put out a lot of good events over the last few years, and the pandemic has made us kind of pivot to this online thing, which is kind of a little bit of a silver lining, because now we have this really nice library of hour-long, hour and 15-minute long presentations on a range of commercial topics. So you might want to go there and kind of see what's out there. Jimena, as our current chair of the Commercial Forum Leadership Committee, what are some things you might suggest that members look to if they're wanting to spread their wings a bit in commercial? And what are you excited about with Legal Library?
Thank you. Well, I think it's an amazing tool, even for large firms. I work for a large firm and we have our own legal department, but there are clients that we work with that are large holders of commercial real estate, and they might want to have their own access to their own documents, right? When we are in any deal, sometimes it's the seller who puts together the first draft of a document, sometimes it's the buyer. So in that type of interaction, we can even bring it to our own clients that own a lot of real estate. So there are opportunities in any size of firm, I think. And, you know, commercial forum in general, beyond the legal library that quoting Ante, it's definitely a game changer. This tool is amazing. But beyond that, it's commercial forum is an incredible opportunity to network. Real estate is a relationship-based business. So the opportunity to connect the dots with practitioners in so many different areas of commercial real estate and residential real estate is invaluable. And that's what our organization brings. And if you think about it, CAR is an organization of 17,000 members and growing. Probably next month will be 20,000, who knows, right? So that the opportunity that you have through this arm within CAR is really invaluable. So many more things to come, and excited to be part of it.
Well, we're excited to have you, of course. And
Thank
I
you.
saw a question come up in the chat as well about folks who are in different markets or at the national level. If they're transacting in Illinois, it might be beneficial for them to subscribe and get the legal library. We have one of our early subscribers is actually based in Florida, but transacts in Illinois. So they went ahead and got a subscription because they're going to be doing deals here. So yeah, if you do know folks at the national level who are really active in the Chicago market, you could push them toward that commercial forum membership, and they could get in that way. So that is a good thing. And I want to reiterate, Adela asked a really great question in the chat. Commercial forum members do not qualify for discounts. So CCIM is an affiliate of the National Association of Realtors. So you have to be a realtor to get the realtor discount on those affiliate educational opportunities. And that's true. You know, CCIM is similar to IREM or SIOR or any of those other national affiliates. You know, being a realtor does help you with that. You know, if you want to get a foot in the door with those organizations, or you're looking to take some education from them, you know, joining the Chicago Realtors can help you get there. So that's a nice little perk. I think it's also worth emphasizing that while commercial forum membership does get you some of the things Brady mentioned, it doesn't get you everything. You can't access the MLS. You cannot access some of the other things that are involved with being a realtor. You're not allowed to call yourself a realtor, for example, and oftentimes to serve on the various committees and structures within our ecosystem, you kind of need to be a realtor to do that. There are some at-large seats out there, but for the most part, it's our leadership. It consists of realtor members. So it's a benefit, though, if you are a commercial practitioner who doesn't need the MLS, doesn't really worry about whether you can call yourself a realtor or not. Final thoughts or final questions? We're running a tad bit low on time, and I'm talking an awfully lot, and I know you didn't come to hear me talk. So I'm curious to know, does anybody else have a question for Nikki, or is there anything you'd like to ask any of our leadership? Tony, I saw you unmute. You got a final thought for me?
It was just a clarification. As Brady said, it was, I think it was $200 for the membership and then $200 for access to the legal library. But CAR members, that first $200 for commercial forum membership is already covered, right? They just need to raise their hand and say, hey, I want to be a official member of commercial forum, and that first $200 is waived. Is that right?
So yeah, absolutely. So if you are either a primary member with CAR or a secondary member with CAR, it is just $200 to add legal library, sort of that benefit to your roster of benefits. And then we just mark a commercial forum interest on your account. If you're a primary or secondary with CAR, you're already getting access to all the benefits that Jacob and I mentioned. So it's the $200 is the legal library price that we are charging. For those who are not primary or secondary with CAR, we're charging $400, $200 for the legal library piece and $200 for access to all those other benefits. As Jacob mentioned, not realtor benefits, because as we know, like the realtor title comes with being a member of NAR. But things like the commercial forum newsletter, discounts on certain classes, events, networking, things like that, networking opportunities. That's what the additional $200 in that equation leads to.
That's great. Nikki, any final thoughts for us or words of sage wisdom that you can share with us as we're departing here?
I don't have very many, but I do hope that many of you do choose to join and use the program. We know our membership, both our Washington and Idaho folks, all use our forums for a good majority of their transactions. And in our association, they're not even required to use our forums, but they choose to use our forums because of how much they do enjoy loving. They love the customization and their ability to use them. So yeah.
Well, that's great. I appreciate everybody showing up today, especially on a Friday. You could be out buying your costumes and getting ready for Halloween, but you came in to learn about a tech device. So I'm pretty pleased with that. We're very excited about it. We feel like it's got a lot of room to grow, but it's already pretty awesome out of the gates. So let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to subscribe and start to dig in and see what you can do with the product. You will see a lot of communication coming out from us about Legal Library. So you'll get a chance to see, you know, how we're articulating its value and what we think that value is. I also would encourage you to think about signing up for our upcoming commercial forum event if you're looking to get more involved with commercial folks. The Rebuilding Exchange Volunteer Day on November 19th. That event is live on our website. It'll be a really wonderful volunteer opportunity where you'll get to take recycled building materials and build furniture for a charity that places people in homes that are currently houseless. And they also focus on veterans who are struggling to find homes. So that would be a wonderful chance to come out and do something wonderful for a charity, a couple of charities actually that are pretty killer, as well as a chance to meet some commercial folks and kind of see what they're all about. So I would encourage you to sign up for that. That will sell out. We're currently about halfway there. So if you're wanting to attend, go ahead and lock it in. Don't wait until the day before. Otherwise, thanks so much for coming today, and I'll give you back a couple of minutes of your Friday. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Take good
Thank
care,
you.
everyone. And thank you,
Bye,
Jake
everyone.
and Brady.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Bye,
wonderful
everybody.
weekend.